Hello everyone, my name is Aastha. I welcome you all to our classes for International English Olympiad for Class 8th. This is our 11th class wherein we will be doing the topic of adjectives. It's a pretty interesting one because adjective is something that adds to the quality of your language. So various kinds of adjectives we will be doing, when to use which kind, when not to use what kind can be used for a particular noun or pronoun, otherwise we're going to do lots of them. So let's get started.
Now the first question that comes to our mind is, what are adjectives? Okay, so we will first answer our very basic question. Okay, so after seeing the examples, now let's finally understand what really adjectives are. Now, adjectives' basic meaning says, an adjective is a word that describes any animal, person, thing or thought. We can also say that an adjective is a word that describes any noun. Because if you remember, what was the definition of noun? Any animal, person, thing or thought. That is noun. So, any adjective is something that describes a noun. Okay. So, the adjectives are words that describe what something looks like. First of all, it describes what something looks like. Looks like, example, beautiful, ugly, tall, short. How does something look? Then, what something feels like. Second, what something feels like. Soft or hard, smooth, tough. Words like that. Or food items, we can also say what something tastes like. Like delicious, yummy, sour, ripe. Then adjectives also describe what something, fourth point, what something smells like. Aromatic, pleasant, pleasant, all these smells. So if you remember, in all the examples that we took, we described either what something either looks like, or what something feels like, or what something tastes like, or what something smells like. Alright? So, this is an adjective. You have to remember the basic meaning, which says adjective is nothing but something that describes any noun. Okay? Adjectives are usually used to describe anything. Okay? Now, let's move on. Okay, so here, here we have a few sentences as examples, and we will see which kind of adjective is each one of them telling us. For example, if you see the first sentence, I have a small house. Small. Which word is describing something here? Small. And what is being described? House. House is a noun. House is a thing which is being described by the word small. And what is it describing? What the house looks like. Okay, what it looks like. Then the second one. My father made yummy cupcakes. My father made yummy cupcakes. What is being described here? Cupcakes. Cupcakes are the noun here. And what did the cupcakes taste like? Yummy. So, yummy is the adjective which is describing what the cupcakes taste like. What is it describing? It is describing what the cupcakes taste like. Taste like. Okay. So the first one was describing what the house looks like. Second one, what the cupcakes taste like. Now the third one. Her perfume was aromatic. Now, what is being described? The perfume. Perfume is a thing, is a noun which is being described by the adjective aromatic. An adjective is describing what the perfume smells like. Okay? Smells like. I'm sorry, I'm unable to write with the stylus properly. So it is describing what the perfume smells like. Then the fourth one is the glass is hard. So what is being described here? What is the noun? The glass. And glass is being described as hard. Okay? So we saw 4 examples here, wherein the first one is describing what the house looks like. The second one is describing what the cupcakes taste like. Third one is describing what it smells like. Okay, smells like S I will write for smells. And the fourth one, the glass is hard. This one is describing what the glass feels like. So various kinds of descriptions are given by the adjectives. Okay? So adjectives are nothing but words which describe what something looks like, what something tastes like, what something smells like, and what something feels like. Okay? This is the basic meaning of adjective. Now let's move on. Alright, now we have a few categories. We'll just go through them. First is the descriptive adjectives. Descriptive adjectives are the most common ones. They are the ones which are used to describe nouns and pronouns. Alright, we have a few examples like beautiful, cute, silly, tall, annoying, loud, nice. So now these descriptive adjectives are the ones which come to your mind when you think of the word adjective. Alright, the first adjectives which come to your mind are the descriptive ones because they are the ones that are used to describe anything, right? And that's what we call about in the definition of adjective as well, the words which describe nouns or pronouns. Okay. These are a few examples of descriptive adjectives. Let's see. The house is a lovely house. Descriptive adjective has a beautiful garden. Beautiful, descriptive adjective. We have the red flowers have an amazing fragrance. What are the words describing here? Something. Red is describing the flowers, which is the noun, and amazing fragrance. Amazing is also describing the smell of flowers. Alright. Okay, here the next ones are the quantitative adjectives. They show certain number of quantity, and as its name suggests, they are used to describe the quantity of something. Like here we have the examples 1, 5, 100, many, full, a lot. Alright, so these kind of adjectives which are used, they're called quantitative adjectives. We have a few examples, like I have 2 brothers. So here, which is the adjective describing the quantity? 2. I ate the whole cake. So whole is the quantitative adjective. She got me 2 boxes of chocolate. 2 boxes of chocolate. Again, quantitative adjectives, the one which describe the quantity or number of something. Alright, next we have demonstrative adjectives. These are pretty easy because we've discussed them already. Describe which noun or pronoun you're referring to. Like we talked about them in our pronouns also, the demonstrative pronouns. These adjectives include the words this, that, these, those. Alright, this singular noun close to you, that singular noun far from you, these plural noun close to you, and those plural noun far from you. This is pretty easy. Then we have possessive adjectives. What do possessive adjectives do? They show certain possession of something. Alright, describe to whom a thing belongs to. Possession. Like, let me give you examples. Okay, now first of all, let's see what possessive adjectives are. Most common possessive adjectives are my, something that belonging to me, his belonging to her, him, her belonging to her, their belonging to them, your belonging to you, or our belonging to us. Right. But when you want to leave off the noun or pronoun being modified, use these possessive adjectives instead. When you have to leave off the noun, like we use mine, his, hers, theirs, our, yours, ours. Let's see how. Like that is my house. Okay, my house. But if you have to leave that out, we can say that house is mine. Okay, and that is her pencil, but we can also say this pencil is hers. So these are possessive adjectives. Next up we have interrogative adjectives. Pretty easy again. As their name suggests, what do interrogative adjectives do? They tell us various types. Sorry, they help us interrogate and ask various questions. Like here, which, what, whose, etc. Right, so these kind of adjectives, interrogative adjectives, they are used to answer, or maybe we can say to ask certain questions. Alright, to basically interrogate. Then examples, what pet do you want to get? Or whose child is this? These are interrogative adjectives. Then we have distributive adjectives. They describe specific members out of a group. Specific members out of a group. Let's see how. Each, every, neither, either, any. Like each, refers to every single one out of a group. Used to speak about group members individually. Then we have every, again, every single one of a group, which is used to make generalization. Then we have either. Either can be used for choice of two. Then we have neither, not one or the other, between a choice of two. Then any. Any can be one or some things out of any number of choices. This is also used when the choice is irrelevant. Like it doesn't matter, I'll take any of them. So here the choice is irrelevant. That's also when we use any. Okay. Let's see here. I don't like neither of the dresses. Sorry, I don't like either of the dresses. Now either telling the choice that we are not choosing any of them. Then we have every student has to submit his or her report. So every student, every is the adjective here. Alright. Now this is another subcategory for the adjectives. We will be doing comparatives and superlatives. Comparatives and superlatives are one such topic where we will be comparing two things or more than two things. अब हम इसे कैसे करेंगे और कैसे कंपैरिजन ड्रॉ करेंगे, कंपैरेटिव्स एंड सुपरलेटिव्स क्या होते हैं, ये वी विल सी इन द नेक्स्ट फ्यू स्लाइड्स. सो शुरू करते हैं. First of all, as I told you, comparatives and superlatives, they are used to compare. Compare what? Compare nouns or pronouns. और हम एक क्विक रिविजन कर लें कि nouns और pronouns होते क्या हैं. Nouns क्या होते थे? Nouns were any person, any animal, any place, or anything. So person, place, animal, thing, all these things, they were nouns. Okay. And what were pronouns? Pronouns are the words which replace the nouns. Just say if we write I like the dog, the dog is 2 years old. So I like the dog, it is 2 years old. So we write it for the dog, it. Okay? It, him, he, she, her, his, all these words, they are pronouns. So these comparatives and superlatives, they are used to compare. हम जब दो nouns को, for example, if we are comparing one house with another, then we will be using comparatives and superlatives. अगर हम किसी if we are comparing him and her, one guy and one boy and one girl, so comparing pronouns, that will be done using comparatives and superlatives. हम कैसे form करेंगे? Now let's see that. Comparative adjectives. So first of all, we will be doing comparative adjectives. Here, comparative adjectives का आप नाम देखेंगे तो नाम से we can sense it from the name compare. दो words को, दो nouns या pronouns को compare कर रहे हैं. तो इसका meaning क्या हुआ? Comparing adjectives, they are used to compare differences between the two objects they modify. For example, larger, smaller, faster, higher. And they are used in sentences where two nouns are compared. You see, we are comparing two nouns. अब इसकी जो formation है, the formation. The formation. कैसे इसका format है? This is the format. The noun जो हमारा subject है, जो हमारा basis है compare करने का. Noun plus verb plus comparative adjective plus than plus noun. अब ये आपको रचना नहीं है. Okay, you don't have to write this down and memorize this. आपको ये memorize नहीं करना. Of course ये आपके questions में आएगा, but अभी हम जब examples देखेंगे ना, तो आपको ये अपने आप ही समझ आ जाएगा. इसको आपको रटने की जरूरत नहीं है कि noun plus verb plus comparative adjective plus then plus noun. ये आपको इंग्लिश ऐसी चीज है ना जो आपको ऐसे आप रटोगे तो आपको कुछ नहीं होगा. आपसे कोई पूछेगा नहीं कि फॉर्मेशन कैसे करते हैं, ठीक है? कोई नहीं पूछेगा आपसे कि टेल मी व्हाट आर कंपैरेटिव एडजेक्टिव्स एंड टेल मी हाउ आर दे फॉर्म्ड, व्हाट इज देयर फॉर्मेट. नोबडी विल आस्क दैट टू यू. हाउएवर जो क्वेश्चंस आएंगे, द क्वेश्चंस विल बी ऑफ दिस सॉर्ट, जिसमें आपको कंपैरेटिव एडजेक्टिव्स ऑप्शंस में से चूज करने होंगे या फिल इन करने होंगे करेक्ट कंपैरेटिव एडजेक्टिव्स। तो हम अभी एग्जांपल्स देखेंगे तो आपको समझ आ जाएगा। सो लेट्स स्टार्ट। फॉर एग्जाम्पल नाउ यू सी कैसे माई हाउस इज लार्जर देन हर्स। अब यहाँ पे यू सी कि एक हाउस को दूसरे के हाउस से कंपेयर कर रहे हैं। सो माई हाउस इज लार्जर। लार्जर क्या है? हमारा कंपैरेटिव एडजेक्टिव। अब इसमें आपको ऐसे तो याद नहीं करना कि सब्जेक्ट प्लस वर्ब प्लस कंपैरेटिव एडजेक्टिव। हम इसको इंग्लिश में कंपैरेटिव एडजेक्टिव का सेंटेंस ही ये बनेगा कि माई हाउस इज लार्जर दैन। कंपेयर किससे कर रहे हैं? than hers. So this was the first house, first noun, and the second house, hers, matlab her house is compared with the second one, and the first one is larger than hers. My house is larger than hers. So आपने देखा comparative adjective कैसे use हुआ? Now let's see the second sentence. The second sentence says the box is smaller than the one I lost. यहाँ पे larger था, यहाँ पे smaller. यहाँ पे क्या हम adjectives में क्या बता रहे हैं? यहाँ पे हम size बता रहे हैं. What it looks like. Okay, it's the size comparison हो रहा है. तो एडजेक्टिव तो हो गया ये, पर कंपैरेटिव एडजेक्टिव कैसे हुआ? क्योंकि हम एक बॉक्स को दूसरे बॉक्स से कंपेयर कर रहे हैं। वी आर कंपेयरिंग द सब्जेक्ट विद द ऑब्जेक्ट एंड यूजिंग द कंपैरेटिव एडजेक्टिव ऑफ स्मॉलर। ओके, नाउ द नेक्स्ट सेंटेंस। Your dog runs faster than Jim's dog. Your dog. This is one. This is our first. This is the subject. First noun जो है, it is being compared with Jim's dog, which is the second noun, or we can say the object. Subject को object से compare किया using which adjective? The comparative adjective of faster. मतलब तुम्हारा जो डॉग है वो जिम के डॉग से ज्यादा तेज भागता है। कंपेयर किससे किया? जिम्स डॉग से। राइट? नाउ द नेक्स्ट सेंटेंस। The rock flew higher than the roof. यहाँ पे हमारा सब्जेक्ट क्या है? The subject is rock, flew higher than the roof. And second noun is roof. Roof is the object. The comparative adjective being used is higher. Okay. So यहाँ पे आपने देखा जो first, यहाँ पे जो सारे ये जो first जो subjects हैं, they are being compared with the nouns, with the objects, the second nouns जो हैं, using the comparative adjectives. Okay, these all comparative adjectives. और यहाँ पे हमारे पास यूज हुआ है क्या? ये verbs is, runs, flew, और यहाँ पे कंपैरिजन करने के लिए than भी एक important word है while using the comparative adjectives. Okay, so जो formation है उसके लिए आपको बस sentences समझने हैं। उसके लिए आपको कोई formation याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है कि subject plus verb plus the comparative adjective plus than plus the object. No, you don't have to memorize it. You just have to remember the examples. और examples में आपको पता है कि ये subject है, verb है, comparative adjective है, फिर than use होता है क्योंकि हम compare कर रहे हैं, और फिर object. Okay, very simple. Now let's move on to our next slide. So now we have done comparative adjectives, and we have seen how comparative adjectives, they compare two nouns or pronouns. Okay. Now we will be talking about superlative adjectives and see what they do. When are superlative adjectives used? What do they mean? So, as we can see, superlative adjectives, they are used to describe. Now it is important to see describe. Comparative adjectives भी describe के लिए use होते हैं, superlative adjectives भी describe. Why? Because जो adjectives हैं, adjectives का जो काम होता है, adjectives का काम ही होता है nouns को, pronouns को describe करना. Alright, so whenever there is a description of something, then we have adjectives. So superlative adjectives used to describe an object. What are they describing? An object, but इसके साथ condition क्या लगी हुई है? Description of an object तो adjectives भी देते हैं, comparative adjectives भी देते हैं. तो superlative adjectives क्या करते हैं? Describe an object which is at the upper or the lower limit of a quality. मतलब examples दिए हैं जैसे tallest, smallest, fastest, highest. So the adjectives, they are used to describe an object which is at the upper or lower limit of a quality. Okay? अब इसको हम जब examples लेंगे तो आपको समझ आएगा कि कैसे upper limit और lower limit हम किस sense में कह रहे हैं. अब ये देखिए कि यहाँ पे लिखा है they are used in sentences where a subject is compared to a group of objects. Alright, now what is important here that it is used in a sentence where the subject is compared to a group of objects. Group of objects. जैसे मैं आपको example देती हूँ. Suppose I have two brothers and sisters. मतलब एक तो मैं हूँ आस्था. Okay, and I am 21 years old. Okay, and I have a brother. My brother, suppose say he is 13 years old. Let's say I have another sister, and that sister, my sister is 30 years old. Okay, so who are we? We are all siblings. भाई बहन हैं हम सब. अब इसमें अगर हम compare करेंगे, you see, let's draw a comparison here. हम जब आस्था को और मेरे भाई को compare करेंगे, आस्था and brother. So we compare and we say, Aastha is elder. Aastha is elder than her brother. तो यहाँ पे हमने कौन सा adjective use किया? Comparative. हम एक subject को एक object से compare कर रहे हैं. Aastha is elder. या फिर हम ये भी कह सकते हैं Aastha's brother is younger than her. तब भी हम एक को ही compare कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. यहाँ पे लेकिन सबसे बड़ा एज में कौन है? सबसे बड़ी is my sister. So for my sister we will say she is the eldest of all the siblings. She is eldest of all. मतलब upper limit, सबसे बड़ी है वो. And my brother, for my brother I will say he is the youngest. Okay, so upper limit पे कौन है? सबसे बड़ी is my sister, and lower limit पे we have my brother and he is the youngest. Okay, so इसका मतलब जो यहाँ पे लिखा है ना, superlative adjectives, they are used to describe an object which are at the upper or the lower limit. So ये है इसका मतलब कि eldest कौन था? My sister, and that's why we refer to her as eldest, और जो eldest है ना, eldest is the superlative adjectives. ठीक है, eldest is the superlative adjective. Youngest is also superlative adjective. Smallest, young, tallest, fastest, highest. अब इसके हम अभी और comparisons देखेंगे और examples देखेंगे तो आपको और अच्छे से समझ आएगा. Let's move on. See a few examples. The first sentence here says, my house is the largest one in our neighborhood. अब आप इसी को कंपेयर करें अगर हमारे comparative adjective वाले example से, where we said my house is smaller than her house. या तो उसमें हम दो houses को compare कर रहे हैं. एक ये house है, ठीक है, and एक ये house है. हम सिर्फ अगर दो को कंपेयर कर रहे हैं तो we used the comparative adjective कि this house is bigger than this house, is larger than this house. But when we are, जब हम इन सब में कंपेयर करेंगे, neighborhood जो है बहुत बड़ी होती है, neighborhood है ये, इसमें बहुत सारे houses हैं और okay, there are more houses. अब हम इसमें जब बोलेंगे when we are talking about this house, जब हम बहुत सारे houses में बोल रहे हैं, सबसे बड़ा कौन सा है? My house. My house is the largest one. Largest मतलब upper limit, सबसे बड़ा है. The upper limit in our neighborhood. Group of objects. Neighborhood में तो बहुत सारे houses होते हैं, right? So it is the largest one. सबसे बड़ा. This largest is the superlative adjective. Okay? Now next example. This is the smallest box I have ever seen. This is the smallest box I have ever seen. अब बहुत सारे boxes देखे हैं मैंने life में, but सबसे small मतलब lower limit, सबसे छोटा smallest box I have ever seen. Okay? Smallest is the superlative adjective. एक box को we are comparing with जो भी boxes मैंने देखे हैं आज तक. ठीक है, सिर्फ दो box को compare नहीं कर रहे हैं, हम एक box को बता रहे हैं कि ये सबसे छोटा है among all the boxes I have ever seen. Okay, I hope you are understanding the difference between comparative adjectives and superlative adjectives. Let's see another one. Your dog ran the fastest of any dog in the race. मतलब आपका जो dog है इतना मतलब he's so fast that he ran the fastest of any dog in the race. There was a race and there were many dogs which participated. Okay, but this particular dog, he ran the fastest. There were other dogs also, more than one, right? All of them were slower than the particular dog. So हम सिर्फ दो dogs को compare नहीं कर रहे हैं. We are comparing one dog with another group of dogs. Okay. Then another example. We all threw our rocks at the same time. My rock flew the highest. See यहाँ क्या हो रहा है? There are these kids. Okay. And इन लोगों ने ना अपने rocks फेंके. They had stones and the three of their rocks up in the air. इनका rock गया यहाँ तक, इनका rock गया यहाँ तक, इनका rock गया यहाँ तक, इनका rock यहीं तक रह गया. So अगर अब ध्यान से सुनना, मैं comparative और superlative में आपको difference समझा रही हूँ. यहाँ पे अगर हम सिर्फ इन दोनों को compare करें तो हम बोलेंगे कि his rock flew higher. Okay, higher than his rock. ठीक है, इसमें सिर्फ हम दो को कंपेयर कर रहे हैं, पर अगर हम इन सब में कंपेयर करेंगे, इन सब में अगर हम कंपेयर करेंगे तो हम क्या बोलेंगे? That his rock flew the highest. आप डिफरेंस समझ रहे हैं कि कहाँ हम सिर्फ दो को कंपेयर कर रहे हैं और कहाँ हम जब एक के साथ बाकी सबको कंपेयर कर रहे हैं, हाईएस्ट हमारी अपर लिमिट इस रॉक ने रीच करी तो हाईएस्ट। ठीक है, ये डिफरेंस है कंपैरेटिव एंड सुपरलेटिव में। कंपैरेटिव इज जब हम एक एंड 1 एंड 2 हम दोनों को कंपेयर कर रहे हैं तो हो गया हमारा कंपैरेटिव एडजेक्टिव। बट जब हम सुपरलेटिव में एक तो है पर देयर आर अ लॉट मोर, 2 3 4 5, देयर आर अ लॉट मोर। तो इन सबको जब हम एक से कंपेयर कर रहे हैं और ये जो एक है ये या तो अपर लिमिट में है या तो लोअर लिमिट में है, या तो सबसे बड़ा है या तो सबसे छोटा है, या तो सबसे ज्यादा है सबसे कम है, मतलब किसी भी सेंस में, जैसे फास्टेस्ट है या स्लोएस्ट है, इसी सेंस में अपर लिमिट या लोअर लिमिट। ठीक है, अभी हम आगे इनकी फॉर्मेशन देखेंगे तो आप और देखेंगे कंपैरिजंस एंड एग्जांपल्स, तो आपको और क्लियर हो जाएगा। लेट्स मूव ऑन। हाउ टू फॉर्म। अब ये हमने देखा लार्जर, लार्जेस्ट, फर्दर, फारदेस्ट, ये सब हमने देखा। तो अब हम ये कैसे फॉर्म करते हैं, कौन से एडजेक्टिव का कैसा फॉर्मेशन होगा। नाउ वी विल सी वन बाय वन वेरियस कैटेगरीज। ओके, नाउ वी आर टॉकिंग वेरियस कैटेगरीज में हम देखेंगे फॉर्मेशन कैसे होगी। फर्स्ट इज the one syllable adjectives. One syllable adjectives. One syllable adjectives के में हम comparative के लिए er ऐड कर देंगे। क्या ऐड करेंगे? er adjective में। and superlative के लिए हम लोग est ऐड करेंगे। ओके, फिर if the adjective has a consonant, single vowel and consonant spelling, so the final consonant must be doubled before adding the ending. अब इसका आपको कंफ्यूजिंग लग रहा होगा, पर हम जो लास्ट का कॉन्सोनेंट है, जब वो लार्ज के कॉन्सोनेंट में एंड हो रहा है तो हमसे डबल कर देंगे बिफोर er या फिर est। ये कैसे होगा मैं आपको नेक्स्ट स्लाइड में एग्जाम्पल लेके समझाती हूँ। ओके, नाउ हियर यू सी क्या हो रहा है। हमने क्या देखा था कि कंपैरेटिव में हम क्या ऐड करेंगे? er, और सुपरलेटिव में क्या ऐड करेंगे? est। ठीक है, बट हमने एक और चीज देखी थी कि जब देयर इज कॉन्सोनेंट, वोवेल एंड कॉन्सोनेंट एंडिंग, कॉन्सोनेंट एंडिंग हो रही है l, t, g, d, तो हमें ये जो er और est है ये तो ऐड करना ही है। बट एक और चीज हमें क्या करना है कि ये जो हमारा लास्ट कॉन्सोनेंट है ना, कॉन्सोनेंट एंडिंग, इसको हमें रेपिटेटिव करना है, ये डबल हो जाएगा। टॉलर में देयर इज ऑलरेडी अ डबल वन एंड इट इज नॉट अ सिंगल कॉन्सोनेंट एंडिंग, ये डबल कॉन्सोनेंट एंडिंग है, तो इसमें तो ये डबल नहीं होगा, इसमें ऑलरेडी है, तो इधर er ऐड कर दिया हमने कंपैरेटिव में। सुपरलेटिव में est, tall, taller, tallest. For fat, you see there is a consonant ending, तो हमने क्या कर दिया ऐसे, कंपैरेटिव में fatter and superlative में fattest. All right, there is a double हो गया कौन सा हमारा लेटर? T, क्योंकि वो लास्ट में हमारी सिंगल कॉन्सोनेंट एंडिंग है। Similarly for big, G ending, G single consonant ending, comparative में हमने er तो ऐड किया ही, ये er ऐड किया हमने, बन गया bigger, double G। For superlative again we have biggest, जिसमें हमने est तो ऐड किया ही जैसे हमें करना है, पर हमने ये कॉन्सोनेंट का सिंगल एंडिंग थी तो हमने इसे डबल कर दिया. ओके. Another one sad. Sad में consonant, vowel, consonant ending is consonant ending D. हम इसे comparative में ER तो ऐड करेंगे ही और इसे consonant ending को डबल कर देंगे, double D, sadder. Now for superlative, सबसे पहले हमें EST तो ऐड करना है. One syllable adjective है ये, इसमें consonant, vowel, consonant ending D जो है उसे हम डबल कर देंगे. Double plus EST, saddest. Okay, this was our first category, one syllable adjectives. Now let's move on to our second category, adjectives. Now second category is the two syllable adjectives. Okay, two syllable adjectives में क्या करते हैं हम? Adjectives with two syllables can form the comparative by adding er. Comparative में दो options हैं हमारे पास, either by adding er या फिर by preceding the adjective with more. Okay, and superlative के लिए सुपरलेटिव या तो हम est ऐड कर दें जैसे हम वन सिलेबल में कर रहे थे, या फिर हम एडजेक्टिव विल बी प्रीसीडेड बाय मोस्ट, ईदर मोर और मोस्ट, या फिर est. ओके, तो अब इसके हम एग्जाम्पल्स देखेंगे, फिर आपको ज्यादा अच्छे से समझ आएगा. Okay, so you see here happy second category है. इसमें हमने क्या सीखा है? या तो हम er ऐड करेंगे या फिर हम more लिख देंगे जो हमारा एडजेक्टिव है, एडजेक्टिव से पहले. यहाँ पे हम est ऐड करेंगे या फिर हम लिख देंगे most. Okay, so happy is a two syllable adjective. इसमें हमने comparative में हमने er ऐड कर दिया, happier, and for superlative we added est. For simple we added an er. Simple already ends in e, तो हमने सिर्फ r ऐड किया. Here est in the superlative one. Busy, again busier and busiest. Tilted, अब tilted में we added a more tilted and most tilted. Tangled, more tangled, most tangled. You see, these are the various varieties जिसमें या तो हम er ऐड करेंगे या फिर हम more ऐड करेंगे for comparative, या तो हम est ऐड करेंगे या फिर हम most ऐड करेंगे for superlative. So these various examples: happy, happier, happiest; simple, simpler, simplest; busy, busier, busiest; tilted, more tilted, most tilted; tangled, more tangled, most tangled. Okay, now let's move on. अब हम आ रहे हैं 3 और more syllables. जब 3 या more syllables हों तो हम यहाँ पे क्या है, यहाँ पे हम more डालेंगे या फिर superlative पे most. Comparative में we will put on a more, and superlative में we will have most. Okay, now let's see a few examples. Okay. Important, more than three syllables adjectives. So say comparative में we added a more, and superlative में we added a most. For expensive we added a more. For expensive comparative we added a more. For the superlative we added a most. So comparative में क्या add करते हैं हम? More. And superlative में we add a most. Okay, this is easy to remember. इसमें कुछ नहीं करना है, सेम रहेगा हमारा adjective but more and most. So we did two examples: important, more important, most important; expensive, more expensive, most expensive. Okay, let's move on. अब कुछ होते हैं जो एकदम irregular होते हैं, जो ना हमारे फर्स्ट सिलेबल, सेकंड सिलेबल, थर्ड सिलेबल की कैटेगरीज में नहीं आते. ये हमारी फोर्थ कैटेगरी है, which are irregular comparatives and superlatives, completely irregular. So let's see how are they formed. Now we say these are very common adjectives and they have completely irregular comparative and superlative. Irregular का मतलब कोई स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेशन नहीं है. जैसे कि हमने वन सिलेबल में स्टैंडर्ड फॉर्मेशन देखी थी EREST की, थ्री सिलेबल्स में देखी थी मोस्ट एंड मोर की. यहाँ पे कोई स्टैंडर्ड नहीं है, यहाँ पे अलग अलग तरीके से हम सुपरलेटिव्स एंड कंपैरेटिव्स बनाएंगे. These comparatives and superlatives will be completely irregular. Let's see. Here we have a few examples. जैसे good. Good के लिए हम gooder नहीं कहते हैं, goodest नहीं कहते हैं. For good we use better. Okay, for the comparative. And for superlative we use best. Similarly, for the second example, bad, we use, for bad, comparative के लिए हम use करते हैं worse. And for the superlative we use worst. Okay, सबसे बुरा. Then little, we don't say littler, littlest, no. For little, for the comparative we use is less. And for the superlative we use least. For much, जो comparative हम use करते हैं, that is more. And the superlative we use is most. Then for far, the comparative we use is further or farther. And the superlative we use is furthest or farthest. Okay, so we did the following examples: good, better, best; bad, worse, worst; little, less, least; much, more, most; far, further or farther; and furthest and furthest or farthest. Okay, so let's move on to the next slide. Alright, so now we have one more category, which is the adjective phrase, or we can call it the adjectival phrase. What are these adjectival phrases or adjective phrase? What they do is, their function is same as adjectives, which is, describing a noun or a pronoun. And what they do is they tell a bit more information about a noun or a pronoun. Okay, and how are they formed? The adjective is used with usually an intensifier. Okay, so there is nothing difficult and nothing new in here. All you have to remember is these adjective phrases, when we're talking about, they will not have a single word. Because the phrase phrase itself means having more than one word. So it will not just have one adjective, it will have either an intensifier or multiple adjectives. All right. Okay, here you see example. Here you see an example. The handsome boy is my brother. Here, what is the adjective? Handsome. This is what? This is an adjective only. But then if we say the boy who is so handsome, this becomes an adjective phrase, adjectival phrase. All right. Then we have the red fragrant flowers. Red fragrant. This is what? An adjectival phrase. Then here, I like people who speak the truth. So this is what? Who speak the truth. This is what? It is describing, giving more information about the noun people. So this is an adjectival phrase. I could have easily said I like truthful people. Truthful could have been an adjective. But here I like people who speak the truth. So here who speak the truth becomes an adjectival phrase. Alright, this is just a slight difference and nothing much too serious or much to focus upon. It is just a slight difference that you should know about. Alright. Alright, so now we'll be talking about the order of adjectives. What does order of adjectives mean? Here, suppose you have to describe one thing, but with more than one adjective. Alright, suppose you have to tell something like it is good and it is also tiny and it is also say Indian or it is also huge. So when you're using more than one adjectives together, so what is the order that you put in? Which means which type of adjective do you put first or which type of adjective do you put second? Like if you're talking something about good tiny, so do you say good tiny ball or do you say tiny good ball? So this question is going to be answered by the order of adjectives. Let's see here. The order is, first of all, we use the determiner. Whichever determiner is there, like a, and, the, both, many, some, a lot, few, etc. So first we use the determiner. Then we use the adjective which is describing the opinion, like good, pretty, silly, terrible, or joyful. So any opinion, any description about it in the opinion reference, that is used next. Then the third one comes is size. Big, small, tiny, large, huge, gigantic, any of the adjective telling the size, that is used next. Okay, that's in the third position. Alright, so in the fourth position we use shape. Any shape, flat, square, round, rectangular, cuboid, any shape, that is used in the fourth position. Then next we use the age, young, youthful, old, any age we're referring to. Then we talk about the color, if we are talking about it, color, black, bright, faded, yellow, etc. Then we talk about its origin, then we talk about its material, and then we talk about its purpose. Now here it is not necessary that you will always have these nine adjectives for each word, right? You might just have a small tiny, like I told you. So when you just have these 2 or maybe 3 or 4, so in this order you have to do it. Alright. So that's it. These are the 9 broad orders that you can take care of. Here are a few examples, like a pretty, tiny, red box. Now this is the noun. Noun always comes in the end. Here we have the determiner. Here we have the opinion, pretty, tiny, size, red, color. We have many round old Indian plates. Plates is the noun, many is the determiner, round is the shape, old is the age, then Indian is the origin. Okay, then we have young Indian man. Man is what? Noun. Young is what? Age. Then Indian is what? Origin. Alright, so this is just a broad category. This was just a broad categorization of the order of the adjectives. Alright. Alright, so now we've done the broad categorization, understood what adjectives are and their meaning, various types also, comparatives. It's a pretty long class. Now we will moving to the quiz and seeing how much you have actually learned. Alright. Alright. So for the quiz, what we will be doing is, now every question you will be given 1 minute. 1 minute means 60 seconds. Why am I giving you 1 minute? Because you see, your question paper of IEO, it has about 50 questions, and so you can imagine that you get more or less a minute to answer the questions. Now this 1 minute is the maximum that you should be taking for answering the question. Now suppose there could be two three categories of students. First category is, suppose you answer the question within that 1 minute. So I would request you to fast forward the video and skip right to the answer. You should not be wasting your time. Alright. Now the other students who are not able to answer the question in 1 minute, what you do, you don't skip to the answer. You pause the video and you write down your answer. Alright, it is very important to answer each and every question because there is no negative marking. Here you see, for every incorrect answer, no points because there is no negative marking in IEO. So it is important that you attempt all the questions. Now for a question of which you are not sure about the answer, now even here and even in the exam, if you are not sure about the answer and you maybe think that B option might be correct or C option might be correct, so you should in that case play your luck and play your mind and make a guess and still give an answer, because it is a win-win situation. Either you will get the marks for that question or you will get a 0, right? But if you don't attempt that question at all, then you are anyway getting a 0 in that, right? So it is good to attempt those questions, and even if you don't know all the answers, try to understand and take a guess. Okay, so this is for every correct answer 10 points. This is just for your own little game where you can try to maintain a notepad. So here you write the name of the chapter and then the question, and then if it is correct you can give yourself 10 points. If it is not correct, you mark it here. So it is important to see these questions, the ones which you mark incorrect. It is important to go back to them later and then see where you did the mistake. Alright, this is just for your reference. For every correct answer you can give yourself 10 points. Alright, now let's start. Alright, so now we start off with the questions. In this category of questions, what we have to do is choose the most appropriate word to follow the given adjective. Okay, the most appropriate word to follow the given adjective. We are given an adjective here, and for that we have to give like a follow-up word. This follow-up word may be a noun or otherwise, that we are going to see from question to question. So like what we'll have to do is we'll have to focus on the adjective. So if you know the meaning of the adjective, you'll be able to figure out what word it is used with, or we can say most commonly used with. Like here we have the word protruding. Now protruding is an adjective which means something sticking out. Okay. So let's see the options. Protruding mark, or protruding skin, or protruding teeth, or protruding build. Here, which one makes sense to you? Protruding teeth. Okay, the teeth which are like coming out. That's. So the answer is protruding teeth, C. Alright, now the next adjective we have is even. Even is something that is symmetrical, or we can say, equal in the sense. Alright, the options are eyes, or even nose, or even hair, or none of these. Pretty easy, I think. Even is used for eyes. Even can be most commonly used for eyes, even eyes. Alright. Okay, next up we have swarthy. The options are swarthy eyes, swarthy hair, swarthy lips, or swarthy complexion. Now swarthy is actually used with complexion. Swarthy itself means a sort of dark complexion. Okay, so swarthy is used with complexion. Alright, now the next word is lanky. The options are lanky eyes, lanky hair, lanky build, or lanky lips. Now lanky actually refers to, it is most commonly used for build, lanky build. Now when a person is lanky build, what we are trying to say, we are trying to describe him as a person who is very thin and tall. Alright, so that is referred to as a lanky build. When we are describing someone, describing their physique or their body, so we say this person is lanky build when they are extremely thin and tall. Alright. Okay, now next, pointed. Now here I think this one's pretty easy. The options are pointed eyes or pointed nose or pointed lips or pointed hair. The correct answer is pointed nose. Because pointed is like protruding with a certain mark. So even only a nose can be pointed, right? You cannot really be having pointed eyes or pointed lips or pointed hair. Okay, hair, something like this, but it doesn't really make sense. The correct answer is nose. Alright, now next we have bald. The options are bald head or bald eyes or bald lips or bald face. Now this one is also pretty easy. Bald is actually referred for head, bald head. Bald head refers to when a person has no hair on their head, having the scalp is almost or completely without hair. That's a bald head. Okay, now next we have stocky. Now stocky, the options are stocky build, stocky hair, stocky lips, or stocky teeth. Now here again, stocky is referred for build. When we have to describe someone's physical appearance or their build, we can say they're stocky. When they have a broad shoulders and this sturdy body, then that can be called a stocky build. All right. Okay, now next, close set. Close set face or close set hair or close set lips or close set teeth. Now here this one is also pretty easy because close set actually refers to close set teeth, which means there's no gap between between the teeth, and they are um, what we can say, just together and forming a beautiful mouth. All right, that's close set teeth. Just don't mind this. Okay. All right, next, plated. The options are plated eyes, plated hair, plated lips, or plated teeth. Okay, this is also pretty easy. We refer to plaits in hair, right? It's a form of hairstyle, so plated hair. Plaited hair, like when girls making their ponytails to a certain manner, this formation is called a plait. Okay. Okay, next, grinning. Grinning eyes, grinning hair, grinning nose, or grinning teeth. Now, what is a grin? Do you know that? Grinning is actually a big broad smile. Okay, that very broad smile when someone is grinning with their हम कहते हैं ना, all the teeth are showing, so that's a big broad smile, that's a grin. So grinning teeth, that is, so grinning can be used for teeth. All right, grinning teeth. Okay, now here we have a sentence. Here, let's see the sentence and then fill in the blank. Or and dash decision was taken up by members, was taken by members of the committee. Ominous, unanimous, or anonymous. Here the correct answer is B, unanimous. Unanimous decision, which means everybody agreed to that decision. You know, everybody took it in unison. The other words, like here we have ominous. Ominous actually refers to something that gives a bad sign. Okay, giving an inauspicious sign. All right. Here we have anonymous. Anonymous is someone that you don't know. All right, like at random. Okay, so here the correct answer is unanimous. And with unanimous, which article are we going to use? We're going to use a. Why? Because it is starting with a consonant sound. Also it is U, but it is starting with a Y sound, Y sound. So we will be using a. A unanimous decision was taken by members of the committee. All right. Okay, next. Mr. Patel is a very dash person. Everybody respects his decision. He's a very influential person, is a very inhumane person, is a very inordinate person, or is a very insipid person. Here the correct answer is A. Mr. Patel is very influential person, which means, you know, he has a lot of influence. The other options, like here, inhumane, someone who lacks the basic values. Okay, someone who doesn't follow the moral grounds and ethics. Okay, then we have inordinate person who has, you know, no restraint on their behavior. Okay, that can be called to be an inordinate person. Then we have insipid. Insipid can be used for something which you don't have an interest in. Okay, so that's insipid. All right, so with this we finish off with the questions on the adjectives.
That's all for our class on adjectives. I hope you have had the basic idea about what adjectives really are. Make sure you revise these concepts so that you don't make a mistake in them. And if you made any mistake in the questions, whichever the questions we solved, so make sure you rectify those mistakes, because if you don't, then they will just go off in your memory and you won't really be able to learn from the mistakes that you made. Alright, I will see you the next time. Thank you for watching.